A little commentary as we get going. You will have your character cards coming up for the new characters introduced in this episode, along with their drawings then after. Here we get started. The scene opens in the Ringmaster's trailer with Cain and Ouroboros as they are talking about their plans going forward. Cain asked, "So how do we go about trapping this Belial?" Ouroboros replied, "Well, Belial doesn't know we are one, and in one body. So I will give you time to learn the incantation that is needed." Ouroboros continued, "Once you know the incantation, then I summon Belial. You say the incantation and he will get sucked into the ring." Cain asked, "So what's this incantation that I must learn?" Ouroboros replied, "You must say Capti facto sunt un hoc lapide daemon Belial. From there, it should deal with him." The demonic duo had spent their time giving Cain time to memorize the incantation while Ouroboros continued to plan further ahead. Cain asked Ouroboros, "So what kind of power will this Belial give me?" Ouroboros got a big grin as he replied, "It will give you the ability to grant any wish of any person, but you can taint those wishes and trap their souls in the ring to gain even more power." Cain replied, "I like how you think, Ouroboros. This sounds like this will be exhilarating. So do you think you have the incantation memorized verbatim?" Cain replied, I think so. Why, do we only get one shot at this?" Ouroboros would respond angrily as he began to shout, "Yes, boy, we only get one chance, so you need to memorize that incantation verbatim." Cain replied back to Ouroboros, realizing the gravity of the situation, as he said, Actually, give me a bit more, just to make sure I have the wording down, since it's like Sanskrit or something like that. Ouroboros would quip back. You moron, it's Latin, not Sanskrit. The following morning, Cain would say to Ouroboros, I have the wording down. The best I can. Think it's now or never. Ouroboros replied, Then I will start the summoning. Grabbing the bowl of horse blood that they had drained earlier in the day, dipped his finger in, raising it to his mouth, tasting it, saying aged to perfection. He would then dip his finger back in as he started to draw sigils inside of the room they were in. As Ouroboros finished, he told Cain, Be ready. He could appear at any time. Be ready with those words, and I will hold him off as long as I can. But be quick. Belial is strong. The sigils started to hiss and burn with an amber glow. When a portal opened and the room that the two were in became illuminated by an auspicious light, Belial walked through the portal. Cain looked on in astonishment, as Belial did not look anything like any kind of angel that he had ever heard about. This is when Belial would attack. Ouroboros stopped the attack and yelled to Cain, Do it now, boy. Cain began to recite the incantation as he spoke. Capti facto sunt in hoc lapide demon Belial. As Cain finished the incantation, the room became filled with an ominous red glow. Ouroboros began to push Belial toward Cain, and Cain held up his ring as the essence of Belial began to seep into it. And Belial had vanished from in front of them. As the glow diminished, the ring became adorned by an emblazoned jewel that shone a fiery red. Cain would ask Ouroboros, So, can I ask for a wish on my ring? Ouroboros replied, Yes, my dear boy. Why, what do you have in mind? Cain replied, Well, now that we are stronger, think if the cycle truly needs to be broken, we should find a way to take Abel off the board as to not interfere with our future plans. Ouroboros spoke aloud. So what are we going to do to poor Abel? Maim her? Make her vanish without a trace? Murder her? Oh wait, that would continue the cycle. So what is your plan, Cain? Cain responded, True. I can't murder her as much as it pains me, but Abel has a certain ability we may be able to use to our advantage. Ouroboros looked at Cain with intrigue as Cain continued. When Abel plays her harp, people will come from miles away to hear her play. Ouroboros replied, Did you say a harp, dear boy? Cain shook his head in agreement as Ouroboros continued. Yes, I would say her ability is unique, but it's unique to angels. Ouroboros thought a second before he continued. I think I figured out with how we are. You're here in life, but in the afterlife you become me. But I think your sister might be the same, but instead of a demon on her side, she has an angel instead. Cain replied, That would make sense, since she's always been liked more than me by God and everyone else. The two nefarious deviants went about their scheming as they tried to come up with a plan for Abel. The pair thought a while, till eventually Ouroboros asked Cain, Do we have access to a train car? Cain points to the ring and says, "With this, we have whatever we need. What are you thinking?" Oribus, with a grin, replied, "If we had a train car, I could enchant some chains to hold Abel in the train car, but we would have to put sigils up to keep people we want out." Cain would then ask, "So how do I go about using this ring to make a wish?" Oribus replied, "All you have to do is think about it hard and focus, and it should work. But obviously don't think train car here, or we might get crushed by one." Cain thought about a train car, and even thought he could put it behind the ringmaster's shed. And like that, it appeared. Cain said to Oribus, "Let's go to the train car and prepare for Abel's long stay." The deviants made their way to the train car in the dead of night so no one would see them as they got to work. They covered the whole train car with different sigils to keep Abel from getting help. Oribus would spend time crafting a pair of enchanted manacles which they attached to the floor of the train car. The pair admired their handiwork as Oribus explained the enchantments of the manacles and how they should nullify her angel abilities while still being able to use her luring abilities. They finished their work as the sun of a new day rose to the morning sky. Oribus looked at Cain as he spoke. "Let me ask you, Cain, what do you want? Surely you don't want to be a snake charmer forever, right?" Cain replied, "I have never given it much thought. I just always wanted to break the cycle." Oribus quipped back, "Oh, Cain, be serious. Remember, I've spent time in that noggin of yours. I know you thirst for power." Cain shook his head in agreement as Oribus continued, "Then why don't we take some power?" Cain looked at Oribus in confusion as he asked, "What do you mean?" Oribus replied, "Well, we are in a circus after all. Do you want to be the snake charmer or the ringmaster?" Cain asked, "But how?" Oribus replied in an excited frenzy of emotion, "You leave that to me, dear boy. But will anyone else get in our way besides the ringmaster?" Cain responded, "Sergei the strongman might try to keep us from Abel." Oribus continued, "And it sounds like I've got work to do." As Cain listened to Oribus laugh, he accepted a long time ago that some people were going to get hurt for them to accomplish their goals. Cain would ask, "How is anyone going to think I'm the ringmaster? That guy's been here for years." Oribus got a sinister grin on his face as he answered, "Oh, dear boy, the things you must learn. Do you see the snake on my left arm?" Cain shook his head, acknowledging that he could see it. Oribus continued, "Not only can it kill, but its venom serves two functions which I dictate. The first function can paralyze its target, unable to speak, but its second function gives it the ability to hypnotize anyone I wish." Oribus finished his thought. "The ringmaster will die within days. The strong man will be paralyzed and unable to communicate, while Abel will be hypnotized and come with us to be bound, and anyone who questions it, I will make them believe in our new reality." Over the coming weeks, Sergei the strongman would become paralyzed and unable to communicate by unknown means to the horror of the circus staff. But the biggest travesty was when Big Jim Smith, the ringmaster for decades, became gravely ill out of nowhere and died later that night. The cops would look into both cases, but the cops were stumped as both men seemed to have some kind of altercation with something that seemed unexplainable. And due to this, the cases would go closed. Cain would eventually lead the charge to help run things so people of the circus could continue to make a living. The people of the circus would start to back Cain as the new ringmaster of the circus, but all of this did not sit right with Abel, and it would start to gnaw at her till she decided to confront Cain. One day, Abel made her way to the ringmaster's train car, and as she approached, Cain opened the door to greet her. Cain spoke as he opened the door. "Oh, hello, dear sister. What a pleasant surprise." Abel would walk past him as she sat down. Cain replied, "Oh no, I was about to head out to plan for the show tonight and meet up with the crew. But I guess I'll handle having this conversation that we've been needing, dear sister." Abel shook her head as she looked at her brother. Cain spoke. "Since I'm the new ringmaster, I find it in my best interest to find out the talents of the people here at our dear circus." All the while, Orbus was covered by a long, dark, thick blanket hooked to a clothesline, and his snake arm moved into an advantageous ambush point. Cain would cut Abel off from speaking as he said, "Well, you're the assistant to Sergey, but Sergey's sick. So I'm taking a guess that means you are looking for work, right?" Abel shook her head in agreement as Cain would continue, with a sly smile on his face. "It's too bad about old man Sergey. Shouldn't have stuck his nose where it didn't belong." Abel rose from her seat abruptly when Orbus's snake arm appeared at eye level in front of Abel as she backed down from him. Orbus spoke. "Repeat after me. I will sit here and be a good girl till things are ready." Abel repeated the words, yet she could tell it was somehow forced as she sat down and became calm. Every muscle in Abel's body was telling her to overcome what was going on, though she continued to sit there calm. Cain walked behind the raised blanket as he spoke to Orbus. Cain said, "Now that you have her entranced, what now?" Orbus replied, "We take her to the train car and try to be discreet." Cain replied, "But how do we keep people from taking Abel by force?" Orbus continued, "If you find me some bodies, maybe the strong men. I know a demon or two that might join our ranks, if they get a piece of the pie." Cain replied, "We can use the bodies of the different entertainers here at the circus. They say sharing is caring." Orbus replied, "I hate to share, but we might need the help." Cain would cover Abel and Orbus with the thick blanket as Cain guided them to the train car as discreetly as Cain could. After arriving at the train car, they put the manacles on Abel's wrists and placed her in a chair. As Abel succumbed to her bindings, she now fell to her knees. But that is when the sides of the train car started to reverberate as everyone looked around. All but Orbus. Orbus knew this was a possibility, but never had intended that the manacles would unleash this. Cain asked in a panic, "What the hell is going on?" Orbus replied, "Remember when you die you become me? Well, we are about to meet Abel's angel form." Within moments, the train car was engulfed in a magnificent bright light as the reverberations came to a distinct eerie end till they realized that a different entity stood in front of them. In front of them, an entity with giant white and black wings, bound by the manacles. Cain and Orbus asked together, "What's your name, Angel?" The angel spoke. "My name is Jophiel. Demented ones, why did you trap me here?" Orbus replied, "You talk like you're above us, yet here you stand shackled." Jophiel thrashed at the manacles, but to no avail, as Jophiel spoke. "I am an angel of the Lord, and as such, my status in heaven is above you, demon." Orbus quipped back, "You gaudy, self-righteous warmonger. How powerful are you in those chains?" Cain cut off Jophiel from responding as he shouted, "Stop!" Cain then continued, "Jophiel, look at your situation. We have all the power, and you are shackled to the ground." Jophiel started to thrash around in the manacles once again, but the only power the angel could muster shone as a magnificent blue light. Orbus snidely chimed in, "Was that all you could muster? How pitiful." Cain told Orbus, "Watch Jophiel while I handle something." Cain would walk out of the train car before finding a down-on-his-luck clown among the tents of the circus grounds. Cain walked to the clown as he asked, "If you could have one wish right now, what would it be?" The sad clown said, "I would love to drown my sorrows away in a bottle of old Thunderbird." Cain thought before saying, "Your wish has been granted. Enjoy." Within moments, the sad clown was drowned in the rush of a watery substance. Cain sat back and watched as the clown started drowning, as his soul started to seep toward the garnet ring. Cain would say, "That was easy," as he kicked the clown's deceased body before walking back into the train car. As Cain re-entered the train car to see Orbus teasing Jophiel, Cain walked up to Orbus as he asked, "When the garnet ring has a soul inside it, how can I draw on that power?" Orbus looked at Cain with a mischievous grin. As Orbus spoke, "I see you've been busy, but oh dear boy, all you have to do is make a wish of your heart's desire, remember?" Cain then spoke, "I have an idea." He focused his mind on a specific wish as the garnet ring glowed a fierce red. Within the next few moments, Orbus watched as Cain's will was made reality as the train car extended onto a stage. Next, a chair and a mahogany harp appeared, followed by Jophiel, still bound in the manacles. As Jophiel sat, started to play the harp, Cain whispered to Orbus, "Good, good. Ring works like a charm."